they're just getting geared up at Fox for the general election. And really, like I said, at the end of the free half of the program, the Senate races are going to be huge. Any state that has an open seat, a potential pickup for Democrats or a potential pickup for Republicans for that matter, that's where all of the real action is going to be in House seats. I think there is a broad understanding that it's probably more than likely the Republicans will take control of the House. The Senate is a lot more iffy. And in many respects, like, I can't help but think Stacey Abrams is going to help Raphael Warnock because she's going to bring out a lot of voters. She has a great network. She's also going to allow the racists at Fox News to really talk about black people and energize their base. And because, they can talk about Warnock, but there's something about a black woman for Fox News that just functions. It just gets the anger up, I think, in their base viewers. And here's Greg Gutfeld, just getting ready for it, gearing up.
Phone it. She's running unopposed, so it's just in case you weren't following. I just found that out.
You weren't following.
I wasn't following. We were told that we were in the middle of like one of the worst civil rights crises in modern history. Yep. So when you say Jim Crow on steroids, you mean it's actually worse than Jim Crow. And it turns out, the oddest thing about Biden is that he's right. We are in the worst civil rights crisis in 50 years. It's called his presidency because he has divided this country. He's impugned like the character of half the country. The people that are getting affected most by inflation and by crime are minorities. He's the worst president for blacks.
That's right.
And all he did was virtue signal. Like, Tyrus always talks about this.
No, pause it for a second. Pause it. This is sort of like, first off, I want you to just contemplate at the notion of like, he's the most divisive president that we've had.
How far are we going back?
But does anybody remember what they used to say about Barack Obama?
Yeah, right.
He was so divisive. Just reminding everybody that not everybody is white. It's disgusting. Every time I look at him, I'm just reminded that some people are not white.
It's shameful.
It's shameful. But the way that he sort of jumps across, because he starts it with like, he's divisive, I guess. Go backwards, because he sort of drops the line. Like, he's divisive in that he's sort of like making people being like very aware of how white they're being. But then he comes back and goes, and the real problem is he's being mean to black people.
No. He doesn't say black people. He says the blacks. The blacks. Because, his rhetoric is still right. So, God, what was that a reference to? Trump's. Never mind. Keep going.
Because he has divided this country. He's impugned like the character of half the country.
He's impugned the character of
people
what
that are getting affected most by inflation and by crime are minorities. He's the worst president for blacks.
That's right.
And all he did was virtue signal. Like, Tyrus always talks about this, how the Democrats are primarily the modern Democrat, the wokesters. They deal in externalities, the symbolism, but the meat of the problem, they will never go after. So that's what you're dealing with right now. So you have to ask yourself, what kind of country, how does the country affected by the damages to their psyche by being called racist, irrevocably racist over and over again? Because that's all we get. That's where the press owes us an apology and should be covering this, but they won't because they're stupid.
Well, how do you spell stupid, Jeff?
STOOPID. I was hoping you'd call on me.
What snowflakes? Like, because just if you aren't actually racist, dude, why does it matter to you that you're calling other people racist? You guys keep saying, or that you're getting called racist. You guys keep saying that PC culture is just killing everybody and nobody is able to say what they mean anymore. So if people are calling you racist, why is it such a damage to your psyche that Biden's the most divisive president in 50 years?
Well, it's damage that we've been dealing with our entire history, because if you go back to like the 18 teens, around the time the Brits had moved on from the slave trade, they were making fun of Americans for being a so-called republic and still having slaves. So, like, we should do this media apology going back to 1810s, like pamphlets and stuff like that.
But what's fascinating is he goes from like, Biden is impugning the character of half the country. Which half is Biden? I'm just gonna guess that he's referring to the Republican half, the white half. I mean, let's be honest. Let's just be honest here. There are black people, there are brown people who vote for Republicans. In the same way that there are some people who are professional basketball players who are under 6 feet. There's a couple. But the bottom line is that the Republican Party, just like the NBA, is made up of people over the 6 feet. The Republican Party is 5% white. And he's saying Biden's just impugning white people. And then he's horrible.
But he also
for
says
black
that he's unpopular blacks. So is it 50% or 100%? And then what I love is he throws out, I think his name is Titus. I've met him before.
Tyrus.
He's
Tyrus,
like, Tyrus, thank you. He's like, my black friend here says this all the time. Like, they have everything in that comment there. Every little piece of Republican commentary is in that comment.
Right.
Including like thinking externalities mean symbolism, and it just means something that you haven't accounted for in like a system.
Yes.
Also, like maybe Biden was wrong to say Jim Crow on steroids isn't the best way to put it, but like Jim Crow in a veil is more accurate, maybe.
Yeah. And frankly, like, here's another thing, Republican thing that they hit on. Blaming a Democratic politician for something that they've already been overcompensating for, and it gives them zero currency anyway. Biden ran on being the great unifier, and I'm going to bring everybody together. And I do think in part that's why he won. I think like at that time there were a lot of voters searching for that after Trump. But at the same time, it doesn't give him any currency with Republicans to, quote, unify, because they're still going to call him divisive no matter what. Just by acknowledging the existence of racism, you're the divisive one.
But at least the most vocal, active, and engaged Republicans. In a presidential, those people might come out again in the face of another Republican. But, in these midterms, it's the most active, engaged. Fox, the guys who not just watch these shows, don't have it on the background, but tweeted them and activate. That's how Biden won, is he got that sliver that isn't actively engaged with Fox News all day long, but votes on taxes.